Always.
So when we talk about students, we're saying all students.
Every student.
We expect that our students are. We desire them.
Mm-hmm.
We desire them to increase their abilities to do what it is that is expected of them,
Mm-hmm.
but more so what they expect of themselves.
Yes, and that's their destiny. There we go. With the destiny. Yeah.
Absolutely. We desire every student to increase necessary educational development because, simply put, we have to be accountable for our youth today.
Yes.
That's a conversation. That's a long conversation.
I literally have that on my window at home.
Mm-hmm.
We'll either pay for or profit from
Absolutely.
what the kids are doing. And it's
Absolutely.
amazing. Marshawn made a live painting. It's beautiful.
I'm old school.
Yeah.
Very old school. So I come from the New Haven community.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in New Haven.
Mm-hmm. I was getting ready to go
Always
there.
in the hills. Started out in the hill on Redfield Street until I was 5.
Oh, wow.
And then moved to Spring Street. My parents bought a home. Moved my grandparents in on the first floor. So we always lived in the hill. I lived in the hill until I moved out as an adult after I had my first child.
Yeah.
The hill was what was up. Shout out to the hill.
Hill. My hill neighborhood.
Yeah,
Folks.
absolutely. So living in the hill was an experience. It was an experience back then. It's different than it is today,
Yeah.
right? So I want to tell you a little bit about me, a little bit about how this journey came about, because I think it's important for people to know.
I would love for that.
I'm not just out there doing something,
Oh.
right? I'm out there doing the work
Yes. For years. And I mean,
for years.
I
And
was there from the beginning. And
Absolutely,
I was
Marcy.
so positively
you were there from the
happy.
beginning.
Happy.
Absolutely. I've been doing this work, and in fact, since 2008. We incorporated Destined to Succeed in 2009. Received our 501c3 in August of 2011. We filed. We received our 501c3 30 days later. Now, Marcy,
Yeah.
you know how hard that is.
God. And that means your paperwork was right
absolutely.
on point.
Absolutely.
And I'm one of those. I have had people get them, that quick, but it's important that your paperwork is on point.
Absolutely. I did the 501c3 myself. You know how people promise you, oh, I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you. So I've always been the type, if you need it done and you want it done right, you just do it yourself. I'm not a fan of waiting for people. So I do whatever it is that needs to get done. So long story short, we got the 501c3 and just moved on from that point. I was a full-time employee, so I didn't spend a lot of time building Destined to Succeed.
Yeah.
And notice what I said, building.
Yes.
You have
were
to build
putting it together. You
dream.
Just weren't just throwing something together. You were really.
You can't just dream the dream.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
have to build the dream.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So in building the dream, I started to build basically in 2012 full time because I worked. I had responsibilities. I worked full time, and I decided that this was something that I really needed to follow.
I remember
Right? It
that.
wasn't just a dream. It was something that it was God given. It was ordained. It was something that I had to follow.
I remember you telling me that.
Nothing
do
in my
remember it.
life went right until I decided. I ran from this for 5 years.
Mm.
So people don't know that. This wasn't something that just fell into my lap.
Yeah.
It was my purpose.
Yes.
It was
And
definitely my purpose.
You know how we run from the path that we're going on and we go somewhere else and come back and realize that the path that we were going on before was the path we were supposed to follow.
Been there and
that's-
done that.
listen, that's
Absolutely. So I
life.
started out in the legal field. I did 13 and a half years in the legal field. Moved on to working for the executive VP in finance and administration at Southern in state service. Moved on from there. And even then, and as I tell this story, even then, the path that I took was designed. And I didn't know it was being designed. And from Southern, I went on to, and at Southern, I worked with adult learners.
Okay.
Because I was in the School of Extended Learning, which changed from continuing ed to the School of Extended Learning.
Extended learning.
And so that department was done away with. It was eliminated.
Yeah.
And because I was appointed to my position by the then president, Michael Adante, my classification was such that I could only work for a president, vice president, or dean.
There you go.
I was an at-will employee.
Yes.
So long story short, my tenure at Southern ended because there was nowhere for me to go.
Yeah.
You know, there was no up for me to go. Basically, you know, if you start out as an office assistant, you move up to a secretary, you move up to the admin.
There's no place else
Absolutely.
to go.
I came in as a CSU admin assistant, so I wasn't able to go up other than going to SWOF AFSCME.
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't have a degree. So there was no up for me.
Yeah.
I moved on, and from there, I went to Hamden Public Schools.
I remember.
That was one of the greatest jobs that I had. It was part-time, and it made me realize that in order to make impact on lives, I didn't have to work full-time.
Okay.
I could work part-time, okay?
Be the
So I
teacher they're
did
waiting
that.
for.
I did that for a little while, and then I left there. They were going to eliminate that position, and I left there, and I went to
Sign after sign after sign.
Career Development Corp, which all of our people know it as
Yes.
New Haven Job Corps.
Yes, Job Corps.
I went there as their first admissions counselor.
Oh, really?
Yes, they didn't have admission counselors. I don't know who was doing it at the time, but they had this position that they created for admissions counselors. So I did that. I moved on from there to doing programming at Girl Scouts.
Oh,
believe it
really?
or not, yeah.
Girl Scouts?
I worked for Girl Scouts. So basically, they hired me to come in, and my job was the job I applied for was different than the job that I actually received.
Oh, wow.
So once I got there and I interviewed, I ended up being positioned to work with businesses in the community. So basically, my job was to go to businesses and command monies for Girl Scouts for them to support the Girl Scout, program.
It's great development, like community development. So, like,
Absolutely.
support
So
'em, yeah.
I started seeing that I learned the law. I learned the law. Then I learned working with adult students. Then after that, I just went on. I went on.
Everything was a step into what you were getting ready to
Absolutely.
do.
I worked with what most people call at risk. I call them at promise students.
Yes.
And they're at promise because when you call at promise, when you tell a child that they're at risk, it's a negative connotation.
Yes, of course.
Right?
We have enough
So they
negativity.
forever associate themselves with at risk and negativity. So if you tell them that they're at promise, it gives them hope. So I like to use the term at promise.
is wonderful. At
Absolutely.
promise.
Because
I always say there's no bad kids. There's kids that are
Absolutely.
troubled. They're just, need
they're at promise to
guidance
do great things. And if we plant the seed in them, because it's all about planting seeds.
Yes.
So if we plant a seed in them, that seed, and we water it, then
Yes.
that seed grows.
Yeah.
And we don't know what it's going to blossom into, just like people planted seeds in me.
Yeah.
So that journey led me to, just push and develop what I've always been passionate about.
Yes.
And there was a point in my life when I went to school as an adult. And so Destined to Succeed wasn't just by happenstance. And even though it was God ordained, it was in the making long ago, and I didn't know it.
Yeah.
So I
Way
have
before.
to give my props to those brothers such as John Wilson, Carl Babb, the late, great Dr. Cliff Bush.
Oh, my goodness.
These are individuals that I grew up under. In the New Haven at that time, it was called the Albee Booth Memorial Boys Club. And it was a boys club,
Boys
but
club.
the girls infiltrated. We infiltrated.
We did
because
what we had
back then, things were very different. But did I know at that time that I was literally being groomed? Had no idea. Had no idea.
We ask why sometimes. It's just not for us to know until we get there.
And during my tenure, growing up, I attended Hamden Co-op. So back then, it was called Hamden Cooperative Educational Center.
Okay.
Hamden Co-op was in Hamden, right near where the Larson's Place is. I don't know if you know where Larson's Place is on Whitney Avenue. It's
I think I
right
know.
past the Children's Center.
Okay. All
It's
right.
the
Down.
big building there. That used to be Hamden Co-op.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. That was Hamden Co-op, and that was the greatest school ever. It was only kindergarten through third grade, but I attended that school, and from there, when I was there, basically they gave me, when I was in second grade, they gave me third grade work. When I was in third grade, they gave me fourth grade work. So when I got to fourth grade, I went to parochial school. I went to Sacred Heart in New Haven, and they told my parents that they wanted to skip me, and my mom said absolutely not.
No.
And she fought it. And early on, when I was in Hamden Co-op, they wanted to skip me as well, and my mom said no.
No. Keep you with your peers. Yeah.
So Sacred Heart basically said, here's your tuition money back. We can't do anything for her. If you're not going to
Skip her.
then, she needs to go somewhere else. So my aunt talked my mom into allowing them to skip me. My mom didn't want me in the same grade with my brother,
Oh, okay.
incidentally, who we fought every day. We didn't fight each other. We didn't fight anybody else. We fought each other. So we fought a lot. We were always
Sibling
getting sent to the
rivalry.
office for fighting each other. So when I left Sacred Heart, I chose to go to St. Mary's High School. I was 12 years old, entering St. Mary's High School as a freshman. And, you know, something that people might not know, when we were growing up, it was hard to have 3 kids in a parochial school. It was expensive. My parents couldn't afford it. So basically, we had to clean the school in order to belong to it. We cleaned that school from the 3rd floor to the basement. And that's what we had to do after school 3 days a week in order to pay off some of that tuition.
Wow.
So when I got to St. Mary's and I wanted to be on sports teams and different things, I was on sports and I was in clubs. And one day my mom came to me the day before the first track meet and said, "You have to clean the school." I was so upset. But I did because then we listened to our parents.
Of course.
We did what we had to do. Absolutely. So I had to quit sports so that I could clean the cafeteria after school to work off my tuition. And at that time, the tuition was $750 for the year, plus monies for the books. But it was a lot of money back then.
I know. I went to every Catholic school, I think, in New Haven. I went to St. Stanislaus, St. Mary's, St.
I remember
St.
St.
Stannis.
I remember that.
Went to St. Stan's. Started out in Helen Street. Then I went to St. Stan's, then St. Mary's.
Right.
So
I decided that I didn't want to go to the parochial school anymore. And I asked my dad, because, of course, my mom was not with the program. And I asked my dad, could I go to the free school? Because I wanted to just be a kid. That's all I wanted to do. So when I got to Lee High School, because I went to Richard C. Lee High School, shout out to Lee High, the mayors.
Yes.
So when I got to Lee High, they made a mistake and gave me a senior English class. And so they let me keep it. I was a sophomore, but I took senior English. So long story short, get to the end of my reign in high school and you get called in by your guidance counselor. And I'm going somewhere with this. Okay? And you'll figure out in a second my passion.
Okay.
So I was called into the guidance counselor's office, and the guidance counselor at that time was a woman who looked like me.
Okay.
Okay?
At that time.
At that time. So this was in 81.
Paying
81.
Paying attention.
I was asked, Yvonne, what do you want to do when you graduate from high school? And I said, I want to go to college, but my parents don't have any money.
That's the reality.
I was told, you don't have to go to college. You can go get a job and work. Who's next? And I was ushered out the door.
Huh?
So let me tell you.
That is disheartening. Now
At that time, they ranked the students. Your senior class, I don't know if they still do that today. You got ranked back then. There were 289 seniors in my senior class.
Okay.
I ranked 29, top 1% of my class.
Oh, so
And I
many
was
are-
told that I
Get
could
a
go.
job.
I didn't
Have
need to go to
college.
college. So guess what? It was second nature for me to get a job because in my senior year of high school, they had the space program. And it was an exponential learning program where you worked 2 weeks and you went to school 2 weeks.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, yeah. I worked at the telephone company. At the time, it was called SNETCO. I worked
That
there
would
in the
be
mailroom.
Amazing right now. You
Absolutely.
know what that would do for these kids
my
right
goodness,
now?
Yes. I worked 2
Wow.
weeks. I went to school 2 weeks. So the 2 weeks that I was working, my counterpart was at school, going to school, and then we'd switch off. And I'd go to school and they would work. I only had 2 classes at that time in my senior year because when I went to St. Mary's, they never told me that I didn't have to take history my freshman year. So when I switched over, no one even told me I needed a history credit. So by the time I became a senior, all I needed was a history credit. But you had to carry a course load of 2 credits,
Of course.
2 classes. So I took sewing, which I absolutely was horrible at. I made a pair of pants that didn't fit, and it took me all year to make that one pair of pants.
Oh,
But
that's all right.
just that experience from that guidance counselor telling me that I didn't have to go to college, I could go to work. But see, the thing is, no one explained to me back then, when you were 16 years old, it was very difficult to get a job. It didn't take me very long to figure that out after hitting the pavement day in and day out.
Yes, of course.
And when I say I hit the pavement day in and day out, because I knew nothing more than working. My parents worked. My mom held 2 jobs most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So all I knew how to do was work.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yeah.
sister had a job.
Yeah.
My brother worked summer jobs.
Mm-hmm.
It was second nature. It was like,
Like,
okay,
okay,
I'm going to go get a job.
I'm just gonna
But
get
guess what?
Mm. It
They
wasn't.
weren't hiring 16-year-olds back then.
Mm.
So it only took me from June to February to realize I need to do something different.
Mm.
So I attended, at the time, it was called Stone School of Business,
Mm.
which is
In
now
Hamden, right?
Stone Academy, which just closed down. But yes, it was, at the time, it was downtown New Haven.
Mm-hmm.
It was right
Stone
where the
was
gas
downtown?
company ended up being.
Oh, okay.
Yes, remember where the gas company was
where
at,
it
right
was.
across
Yep.
from the mall? Yeah, that's where Stone School of Business
Oh,
was.
wow. Okay.
And at that school, let me tell you, when I tell you I learned how to be a professional,
Mm.
it was so deep that you had to dress professionally to come to school.
That's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah.
If you came to school at that time, we liked the design pantyhose, we liked the line going
Fancy,
up the
fancy,
back,
yeah.
the fancy,
Mhm.
and the fishnet, etc. If you came to class, if you came to school and you had on a pair of those pantyhose, you could not be in school.
Oh.
You got sent home.
Yeah.
When I tell you they were professional,
Yes.
if your seam had 2 stitches, you got sent home.
Yeah, because it needed to.
If your skirt or dress was
too
above those
short.
knees,
Mm.
you got sent home.
Yeah.
So I was trained well.
Yes. That's when Stone was real Stone. You know.
Absolutely. From that journey, I went on to learn computers, et cetera, because computers were just, listen, I'm dating myself now. Listen, computers were just coming out.
Oh wow.
Yes. When I was at Stone, I got a chance to touch the computer for one class. There were 5 of us on one computer.
Oh,
And it
wow.
was the last day of class.
Wow.
And we had the computer class for a week. And I got to put my fingers on the keyboard for a few minutes. So I
Wow.
left there not knowing how to work a computer.
Okay.
I knew how to type.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I did.
Typing is yeah.
So I went on my journey, and I've done secretarial type work for most of my career.
Yes.
But then as I grew,
Mm-hmm.
I started to elevate into different areas of my life. So now that brings me to Destined to Succeed, and I probably skipped a lot, but it was a journey. That's for another show.
Okay.
How I actually got to where I am, because
Yeah.
there's a lot to that.
A lot.
And it would really, it really identifies my strength. Okay, my past actually identifies my strength, if I could say it like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So now D2S, the reason that I'm so passionate about it, and as you indicated in the opening, is that I'm a passionate entrepreneur. I'm the CEO and founder of Destined to Succeed. I also am the president and owner of Boss Enterprises. Boss is an acronym for Building on Stepping Stones.
There you go.
So that's for another show as well, because I want this today to be
Boss
about
must be-
our families and our youth.
Yeah.
So Destined to Succeed is simply about our families and our youth.
Yes.
And I have this passion for our youth and families. And when I talk about it, like, I eat, sleep, and dream Destined to Succeed.
I know.
I eat, sleep, and dream it.
No. It gives me chills just thinking about the beginning to now. Like.
Oh
just-
my goodness. You remember in the beginning, because
listen.
you were right there trying to
Yeah.
assist me in
Like,
getting
what
my
can I do? What can I
501.
do? What can I do?
Absolutely. So what I want, the thing that I want for folks to know today and to hear me well, we have a responsibility to our youth.
Mm-hmm.
We absolutely have a great responsibility to our youth. Like I said in the beginning, I'm from the old school. I have the village mentality. That's what I do. Village mentality. Destined to Succeed is about excellence. There's 4 pillars that we operate under. And we like to, when we talk about Destined to Succeed, we want Destined to Succeed to be synonymous with a couple of things. So at Destined to Succeed, we enhance, we enrich, we empower, and we equip our students
There you go.
for excellence. And I don't want to just say students, our participants, because we do have some adult programs as well. So in doing that, we focus on 4 pillars of excellence.
Yes.
And so the 4 pillars that we actually follow is career exploration. And you can go on our website and find out anything you'd like to find out about Destined to Succeed. And if that is not enough for you, please call me directly at 203-691-8540. Take that number down, because I guarantee you'll want to hear what we
Yes.
have to say at Destined to Succeed.
Yes.
So what we do is career exploration. And basically, we are teaching our kids about careers.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like a fitting room. They're trying on different careers.
Not just a job,
Absolutely,
a career.
a career. And they get to do that through different steps.
Yes.
And then we focus on college preparation.
So important.
So everybody doesn't want to go to college, right? Everybody's not geared for college. They're not made for college.
And some are made to be entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. And we don't teach our kids that, though. We don't teach our kids that.
No.
That they can be entrepreneurs.
We
don't
don't know
teach our
why
kids
they
that.
don't. Listen, I do.
I'm going to tell you, listen, most of what we do, as individuals, most of what our kids do, they're mimicking us.
Yeah.
So they're learned behaviors. See, I know how to work because my parents worked and that was taught to me.
Yeah.
And it was important, and ethics and all of the things that I was taught growing up as a young girl
Yeah.
is important to me now. My dad used to say, you got to have some class about yourself.
Of course.
So it's always important to me that I present classy.
Okay,
You
so
know what I'm saying? I have
My
to do that
mom, too.
because my dad would be turning over in his grave right now if he was like, if he thought anything other than.
What are you doing?
So with that being said, let me talk about college preparation for a minute. Especially college preparation, especially now because I'm getting a lot of calls from parents and their children need community service hours.
Because it's time. It's time.
It's been time 4 years ago.
Now everybody,
And unfortunately, I don't know if it's a miscommunication from the schools and the guidance counselors
Okay.
or the parents. I don't know where the miscommunication is. And notice I choose my words very, very carefully.
Yes.
Okay.
Miscommunication.
So there's a miscommunication somewhere. I don't want to be schools. But I will say that there is some discrepancies in how the information gets brought to our families.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a
That
whole
being
lot.
said, when our kids reach a certain age, when you know better, you do better.
Yes, of course.
You have to take some responsibility for your learning,
Yes.
for your future.
Yes. I say that all the time. My 15-year-old will say, listen, you are responsible for you. You get
Right.
yourself to school, you get yourself out of school. If you're failing something, you reach out to your teacher. I'm
Absolutely.
not going to do that for you.
And then we need that follow-up. We need parental engagement.
Yeah. They know me.
Because let me
by
tell you,
first, last.
college is really tough. And what they don't tell you in school is a whole lot.
And a lot of
And
it
in
pertains to the
support
education.
in support of our guidance counselors, and because I worked in the school system, I worked in the Hampden school system, and I also worked in the Ansonia school system.
Okay. Ansonia.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm real clear about is that our guidance counselors are overwhelmed.
Anybody in that field, that type of mental health field.
When my daughter was at Hampden High School, it was interesting because when I was in the system, when I worked for Hampden Public Schools, it was probably 2005, 2006, 2005. At that time, there was about 2,000 students in Hampden High School. And as you know, Hampden only has one high school.
Yes.
And at that time, our guidance counselors were assigned 300 to 500 students. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Somebody's falling through the cracks. So if we don't do our due diligence and we don't ask the right questions and we don't know who to go to, our kids are going to fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that drives my passion, particularly with college.
Parental engagement is the number one thing that I see lacking right now.
Well, I think that, and what I've seen in my journey is that school districts say we want our parents involved. There's a difference between involvement and engagement.
Yes, a big difference.
Because when mom is a single parent and she's trying to run the household, working 2 jobs, she might not be able to be involved in Johnny's curriculum activities at 10 o'clock in the morning when Johnny is playing the flute in the band because they have a performance at 10 o'clock in the morning. Her job might not be family friendly.
No, not at all.
Grandma might be raising the children for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Grandma might be able to might be raising the children and not be able to get there at 10 o'clock in the morning because grandma doesn't drive and grandma has to rely on the neighbor to bring her when the neighbor can.
Circumstance.
See, we don't think about those things. So the school district always asks for involvement. Let me tell you what Destined to Succeed is looking for in our parents.
Yes.
Engagement. Let me tell you what engagement looks like.
Really looks like. Yeah.
So engagement looks like Johnny comes home with a folder in his backpack. Parents, hear me and hear me well. Johnny comes home with that folder in his backpack. And he takes that folder out to sit down at the table. Now you've gone to your 7 to 3 job. Now you have to get prepared to be at your 6 o'clock job. Johnny sits at the table and Johnny is doing his homework. Mom, Johnny has a math paper. It has 20 problems on the math paper. You happen to notice that Johnny has 15 of the 20 wrong. You don't need to know how to do the math. You don't need to be able to help Johnny. But what you need to do as the parent is you take that paper and across the top of it, you write help. Johnny struggled. Whatever you need to get that teacher's attention.
Yes.
But it's very important that you put that piece of paper back in the folder, back into Johnny's book bag, and send it back to the school. See, now I'm talking about school, parent, community partnerships. Mom has done her part. That parent has done her part.
She's reached out for help.
She's put it back in. She's doing what she needs to do. Now when it gets to the teacher can look at it and say, oh, wow, Johnny's struggling. Let me give Johnny 10 extra minutes one-on-one today in class.
Yeah. And it's so hard because
and then the school reaches out.
Packed.
Absolutely. The school reaches out to that community organization or that community person that can come in and say, hey, let me give Johnny the extra. See, that's school, community, and parent partnership.
Yes.
It takes a village.
It
takes a village. So, again, going back to college prep.
Yeah.
Our college prep class, it's not even a class. I don't even want to say that these are classes. These are programs that you can come to Destined to Succeed and be a part of. So our college prep is not just about going to college, because there's that kid that's going to go to college and that needs to go to college. And you have that kid that says, you know what, Mrs. Jones, I don't want to go to college. I don't want to do any of that. I just want to go to Walmart and be a greeter. We're not laughing at that kid because he wants to go to Walmart and be a greeter.
Not at all.
Because what I didn't tell you and what you will see after talking about this, you will see that Destined to Succeed is about empowerment. Simply put.
So no matter what you do, just be the best at it.
Just empowerment. So now when that kid goes to Walmart and we teach him to be that best greeter that he can be, he or she can be, now he's looking at that head cashier and saying, why does she have on a yellow vest and I have on a blue vest? Why does she have the keys? Ooh, the manager wears a shirt and tie every day.
Yes.
I want that job.
Yeah.
Because see, now you're introducing them to something different. You're empowering them to want more, to be more, to have more, to just be able to be self-sufficient. That's what our college prep program reflects, not just about going to college. We have our leadership development programs, and we have gender-specific programming. Our gender-specific programming is very clear. We have a boys program, we have a girls program, we have mentoring programs. You can find all of that on our website at www.destined2succeed.org. Destined2succeed.org.
What do I always mess up the 2 C's, 2 E's.
It's 2 C's,
and
2 E's.
The number 2.
It's the number 2.
Yeah.
Yes. Destined. D.E.S.T.I.N.E.D. number 2 succeed.org.
Yeah. I always do the .com. That's what happened with the email the other day.
Yeah.
For 1 minute. Give me 1 sec.
Yes.
You are listening to MarceyLynn once again on WNHHLP 103.5, New Haven Independence Community Radio. And I hope you're enjoying the show. I'm here with Miss Yvonne Ellison Jones with her passionate self for our kids and our families and just in general. You know, it's amazing to have been part of that journey with you, and then, you know, know that all the sacrifices that you have made. Because I remember that time, you know, where there's no work, but I'm doing this, and this is my love. And your husband was always he's still so beautifully supportive.
Listen.
Sometimes it's hard,
honey.
Sometimes he want to. Sometimes, yeah.
As the young folks said, baby.
I'm telling you.
So, yes, I have to give my husband props because he's a man's man.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to give him his props.
Yeah.
Because as difficult as it is for me to be an entrepreneur, my husband is a provider.
Yes.
He pays all the bills.
Thank God.
Because,
Hallelujah.
see, mama ain't had income for a whole long time.
Oh,
so
boy, I remember that.
Papa Dearest pays all the bills.
Shout
okay?
out to my boy.
So he's doing what he needs to do so that I can follow my passion. And
Yeah.
if I did not have a partner as such. Now, don't get me wrong.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he's not happy about it. Make no mistake. But he does what's necessary to provide for his family.
Yes.
And to allow me to follow my dream.
Yes.
So I have to give him props for that.
Yeah.
I don't do it often enough, but I have to give him props for that because it is difficult. We got a whole mortgage and a whole lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we're tuition poor. We're paying, college tuitions for me, for my daughter. We just finished up for my son. My children are passionate as well.
Yeah, very much so.
So let me go back to these last 2 points.
Okay.
Life skills. Love our life skills program. So we do a life skills program like no other. So whatever we teach in the course, in the program, we allow them to go out and apply it. So one year we took our girls group, Uniquely Me, and it's capital Y, capital O, capital U, Uniquely Me. We took them to New York. So we got on the train. And we went to New York. We got on the train. We got to Grand Central, and there was a lesson plan. At the time, our vice chair, and actually she's still our vice chair, she went with us, and she gave them a whole lesson on the Union Station in New Haven.
Okay, yeah.
And then we got on the train, and some of them, it was their first time on the train.
Really?
Yeah, some of them, their first time out of New Haven.
Yeah.
So we went on to New York. We got to New York, to Grand Central. We took a subway over to the ferry.
Oh, subway.
And then we
What an
took the ferry. We took the ferry over to Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, wow.
And so we did. When we got to Ellis Island, we did a program on a 45-minute lesson plan on immigration.
Okay.
Explaining all of that to them. We got back on the ferry and came to a joint called Burger. Went to Burger to eat. I'm watching Burger to eat, and Burger, they had to implement what they learned in their life skills class. So we gave them all a $20 bill. They had to be able to count their change. They had to be able to order their food, be able to count their change. They had to come back to the table, sit at the table, eat their food, converse with their peers. Cell phones put away.
De-socialize.
Cell phones put away.
Yeah, socialize.
And they were able to implement the etiquette skills that we taught them.
Isn't
they
that
were
wonderful?
They were able to implement their oratorical speaking skills.
That's the
those
reward.
Those are the type of things that we do with our life skills program. We teach banking, financial literacy, but we don't do it in a way. We do it with board games. So we don't do it in a way where kids feel like, oh, I'm bored with that. So we use board games, and different board games symbolizes different things.
Yeah.
And we have a mentoring program.
Yes.
Our mentoring program is deep.
Yeah.
We have a mentoring program that we implemented and just got some funding for. It's called CHASE, CHASE. CHASE is coaching and honoring all student excellence. CHASE was developed by my nephew.
Okay.
He was 29 at the time, my late nephew. And unfortunately, he literally had a heart attack. He had a heart attack, closed the window, and literally dropped and had a heart attack.
I'm so sorry.
That being said, young men, go to the doctors.
Yeah.
My nephew had an enlarged heart and didn't know it.
Because
he didn't know it. And unfortunately, he's not
Young.
with us. But I took his program because he asked me, Auntie, I need help with this, et cetera, et cetera. So I started building it out because he didn't live long enough to do so. So what he gave me, I took that shell and I built it out. And I have his CHASE program that I've gotten funding for. But I went a step further and did CHASE Academy, which is going to happen on Saturdays. But you have to take, as the prereq, you have to take CHASE in order to take CHASE Academy. CHASE is for 7th and 8th graders. CHASE Academy is 9 through 12. So that's one of our mentoring programs, but we have several mentoring programs. And again, if you go to our website at www.destinedtosucceed.org, you will find some of our programming, our signature programs will be up there. Any other information that is necessary, please reach out to us. We're always available to have a conversation.
Yes.
And what I do want to say, because I know our time is running short, but what I do want to say is that most people know me and know Destined to Succeed as a Hamden organization.
And think that it's just Hamden.
So we are now located in New Haven at the old St. Aidan's School at 351 McKinley Avenue in New Haven. It's directly across the street from the post office and the fire department. So we are there. We have not had our grand opening yet.
I can't wait.
But we will be doing that soon, very soon. We're finalizing those things right now. And
is so
I like to
wonderful.
do things grandiose. So my board is trying to get me to break it down a little bit. So, and just do something. And we'll have a soft opening. It'll be a soft opening. But we're also prepping for our summer programs. And we're doing a summer program in partnership with Porter's House, Inc. Porter's House is an after-school enrichment program that also has summer programming. Cheryl Porter is the founder and CEO. We share the same space, not the same space, but the same hallway, the same wing of the building.
Okay, makes sense.
And we work in collaboration with each other and in partnership with each other.
That's amazing.
Cheryl's program, and it is a Black-owned organization, a Black female-owned organization. And Cheryl, her organization works with behavioral health youth. So we work in conjunction with each other. We're also doing a supplemental. That summer program, in fact, is going to start on June 26th, and it's going to go all the way through August 18th.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That program
Something
is from
for kids to do.
7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Amazing
Her
hours.
program is 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And my program may be a little longer because we might have parents who need that 5:30 pickup time. Last year, we did D2S Summer Success Sports and Education, and we ran the program from 8:30 to 5:30. It was a very long day.
Yeah.
So we're still contemplating whether we're going to go all the way till 5:30 this year. Also, there's a supplemental summer program that Destined to Succeed runs, and it is entrepreneurship. It is building on stepping stones. I am boss, along with Express Yourself, which is, of course, Busy Kids is our entrepreneur program. We teach kids the business idea. We help them develop their business ideal, teach them the ins and outs of the business planning process. And then we put on a big business exposure, I call it, because they're being exposed.
That's wonderful.
And yes, and we do that.
See, that was my thing in the camp that we had.
Absolutely. So we do that, and then we're going to give them time to build on their stepping stones. And then we will do oratorical speaking skills, expressing yourself, presentation, resumes, etc. And we'll do that and Express Yourself. So that is our other supplemental summer program.
So many things. This one organization. When I tell you that it started one way and now it's everything. It's not everything just to the kids, everything to the adults and the parents. And it's just amazing to see the growth and amazing to see from that little building on Sanford Street to...
Yes. Even prior to that, we got our start at Christian Tabernacle, and shout out to Pastor King.
Hey.
Because Pastor King believed in us, and the business was developed in the basement of Founders Hall. So I have to shout out Pastor King because when no one else would give us an opportunity, Pastor King did so. He did so. He understood the assignment, they say.
Yeah, he
and
understood
so
it.
he gave us our opportunity. And I'm so grateful. And I'm grateful to all the individuals that helped us along the way. The people who believed in us, the people who still believed in us.
Thank you
Listen,
to
I've
all
been
of you.
doing this since 2009.
Thank you to every one of you guys, as I know.
We appreciate everyone. But we've elevated to a new direction because, again, we started as an after-school enrichment. We actually started off tutoring.
All you did was change with the times. It's not even
We
a matter
changed
that
with
you-
the
yeah,
times. We elevated to a different. We elevated to a different
Definitely.
position in this journey. So that being said, the takeaway today is that we're about empowering your student. We're about empowering you if necessary. we have a desire to build, to expand, to explore greatness.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can say that, destined to succeed, when I say we are built on excellence, there's something that a lot of people will find out about me.
Yeah.
And we use it as our core values. PIE, P-I-E, passion, integrity, and excellence. That's our core values for Destined to Succeed, PIE.
Very, very, very
So
important.
come on over to the spot to Destined to Succeed and get a piece of the pie.
Yes,
P-I-E.
Yes.
Absolutely.
There's enough for everyone.
There's enough for everyone because we're only given a little piece.
Definitely.
There's lots of organizations out there, youth serving organizations, and we have to be more intentional about collaborating and partnering with each other.
There's
because
no competition.
There's a
the
little
reward
pot of
in
money.
Unity.
Absolutely.
The reward in unity is unbelievable.
Listen,
and I say that all the time.
each one, reach one. There's enough of us out there to do what it is that is necessary. And I want to leave with this quote. I'm very passionate about a lot of things. And there's something that stuck with me a long time ago. It was written on a board when I was in Springfield College. I went to Springfield College in the accelerated degree program. So I drove to Massachusetts to get my degree.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta do what you
With a
gotta
job,
do.
with a full-time job, a full-time husband, and full-time children.
Just- we
I
gotta do
still
what you
went to
gotta do.
school on the weekends and got my degree. And a professor wrote something on the board that really stuck with me, and it's been my tagline ever since. Booker T. Washington stated something. I have learned that success is to be measured not so much by one's position in life as by the obstacles which he has had to overcome in trying to succeed.
Yes.
And succeed we shall.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all up to us. We got to lift others up.
Absolutely.
And we got to keep doing what we're supposed to do. And the best reward is unifying.
Yes.
Doesn't need to be 20 organizations
Yes.
doing the same thing. And it's not a competition.
Right.
The competition and the reward is the success of others.
I just want to say to our listeners, those who are listening, if you have a high school senior who has not gotten his or her community service hours, please reach out to me. But there are requirements to working with me at Destined to Succeed. Your student is going to be held accountable, but they will get their hours. They will have to work. This is not fun and games. I
No.
don't give away anything. You earn it. So if you have a high school senior that is in need of some community service hours, because I do know that New Haven Promise requires a certain number
Yes.
of hours, and they need it in order to get the New Haven Promise scholarship.
I thought, was it like 25 or something?
Oh,
like that?
no.
It's more than that,
It's either
right?
40 or 50.
Okay. All right.
So they need it by May 1st.
Mm.
So if your child
Reach
is
out.
serious about their community service hours, I am willing to assist them. But I will tell you this. I don't play no games.
And it's not going to be free. It's not.
No, they're going to earn it. They have
Yeah.
to earn it. I'm not giving up any paperwork until the hours are completed.
Yeah.
I'm willing to do that for our high school graduating seniors.
Yes.
But they have to be willing to put in the work
Definitely.
because life is not easy. So I'm willing to do that for anybody who
and
needs
they
it.
can reach you.
That being said,
Wonderful.
please call me 203-691-8540.
Yes. Yes.
Again,
yes.
203-691-8540.
And I thank you so much, and I love you so much, and
Absolutely.
you know how much I love you.
Oh, I love you too. I know. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate
We're really
it.
related, Joneses.
I really, really appreciate the
Yeah,
time and
yeah.
the exposure because for
just-
me, it's exposure.
I really, really needed the information out. You know, it's just,
absolutely.
There's so many people that just don't know, and just having you here has been a great blessing. And it'll be on, YouTube later, and it's
Okay.
always on NewHavenIndependent.org,
Okay.
their website on
Great.
Facebook. Like, go through Facebook and then
Great.
put New Haven Independent.
So we'll be able
So-
to put it on our website.
Yes, well, it's on my website, so
Okay,
put it on
great.
yours too. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So definitely. But you've been listening to MarceyLynn once again on WNHHLP 103.5 with the beautiful Miss Yvonne Ellison Jones, who has
Thank you.
graced us with the information that we need for ourselves. It's all about indemnifying yourself, your child, and others.
Yes.
And I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Blessings.
Praise goes up.
like forever.